You're now listening to another episode of the Renegade Podcast, and I'm interviewing the one and only Trevor Francis. He's a comic writer and artist, and he does some really cool stuff with Illuminati, amongst other, other things. So yeah, in 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hello,
how you doing?
Hey, I'm good, man. Sorry about all of the back and forth.
Yeah, it's all good.
Let me see if I can just... second. Can you...
I can hear you.
Yeah, let me just... Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
Alright, is the audio quality okay?
Alright, okay. My question to you is, when was the moment you're like, okay, I want to get into comics, the whole comics industry? What was that moment? Was it a comic? Was it a particular kind of comic? What was that sort of eureka moment for you?
Yeah, it wasn't about getting into the comics industry. It was just kind of about creating something for myself. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
It was. For me, it was I create music. I used to draw before, but comics were you want to tell a story,
yeah.
And then if you don't have if you can't make movies and videos,
yeah,
no, it's not. So if you can't do any of that, comics are the next best sort of thing. And then what I liked about comics is that you can kind of you can kind of do it yourself, So if you know how to draw, then you can kind of learn to write. And if you can learn to write, you can kind of use some of the tools to help you with, lettering and all of that. And so I kind of took it step by step, but that was kind of and sorry, just going back to your question about that exact moment. For me, it was I used to work in advertising, and I used to spend a lot of time and effort and put all of my energy into coming up with ads for customers and clients. But then what would happen is that they would kind of outright reject that kind of stuff. Or
yeah.
They were kind of it wasn't for anyone. It was just kind of, they were approving things that they thought people would like, but it wasn't something that anyone really valued, and maybe it just wasn't for me. So I was like, okay, let me kind of just do a job that was a job, and then let me put my creative energy into something that I like. And so comics was the thing that came to mind. So that happened maybe, let's say 13 something years ago. And then ever since then, I've kind of professionally I work, I don't do that much creative stuff, but then I put all of my energy into the books. And so that's kind of where Luminosity came from.
Okay, that's a great answer. It's interesting, man, because I feel like you're in a space where you're I really feel there's bigger, bigger comics or comic writers that sort of kind of taking what you're trying to do, but I feel like you kind of sort of started this sort of, I wouldn't say you started it, but I felt like there's been this wave of more sort of horror comics recently, and so I'm not saying again, The Walking Dead came out almost 25 years ago, and I think that comic particularly is, I think, revolutionary in the whole comic space. And I'm not even mentioning the million live action stuff that they did with that, but I think now in a world where people are, I wouldn't say there's superhero fatigue per se, I think people want something a little bit different, and I think horror is a great way to sort of gauge how the audience is feeling about a situation, So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. The thing about horror is that it allows you to kind of push on things that you aren't comfortable with. And so that's where I find a lot of great sort of, at least for me, ideas come from.
Yeah.
Just exploring things that make you uncomfortable. But you see throughout history, even fairy tales.
Yeah.
The really good ones have an element of something scary in them.
Yeah.
Hansel and Gretel get lost in a forest, and who do they see? A witch, right?
Yeah.
So the whole purpose of that story is to kind of caution kids, maybe not to accept things from strangers. Don't wander off into the forest. So there's a lot of a lot of stories have an element of something that is like terrifying or scary. And then for the stuff that I do, I don't try to I'm not into a lot of like blood and gore like for the sake of it. And there's like nothing wrong with that. I guess some people like it, but like for me, it's more about kind of like you said, just kind of like exploring something that is kind of a little mystical, but also kind of uncomfortable and terrifying, right? Just exploring like a question that is kind of interesting. So I mean, it seems to be the case. Like there's always like something interesting in horror every time. But I definitely hope people kind of like are moving towards that. There are like a lot of other creators now that I see are doing a lot of horror, and it's probably just because I've been like doing my own book and just paying attention to others. But my biggest inspiration for doing the book in the way that I do it is this magazine called Heavy Metal Magazine. I don't know if you've heard about that.
Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah.
But so I used to read that book when I was younger, and I was like the magazine, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know comics could be like that, right? Like, experimental, kind of not about superheroes. And then that kind of like opened my eyes. Okay, there's this whole other world of like comic books that aren't tied to superheroes and can explore so many different types of things. So it's definitely a good time to write your own comic.
It's interesting, right? I feel like I feel like culturally, and especially online, I feel like there has been this. Obviously, this been discussed to death, but like the whole concept of a monoculture is truly it's truly dead, in the sense of like everybody is gonna watch this one thing. They're gonna talk about this one thing for weeks and weeks and weeks. Those things don't exist anymore. Like in the traditional sense. Like I mean, I look at what happened with Stranger Things season 5. Did you watch that? Are you into Stranger Things or?
Yeah, I saw like the first couple of seasons, like maybe till.
Okay. All right. Right. I saw how people were sort of deliberately misunderstanding what the Duffer Brothers were trying to do with this show during this time. And I'm not saying it's perfect. How I even said there is quite a few flaws within season 5, but overall I really liked it, right? And look, man, people have their opinions. They have the right to have that opinion. I'm just saying, but you deliberately again take things out of context, misunderstand characterizations, motivations, and everything. It's like what I'm saying. Like I feel like. There's this. I feel like obviously I talked about this in my last interview, where there's this economy of hate and negativity, and I just think that I don't know, man. I feel like it's easier to hate on something than to appreciate it, right? Like I look at what I'm saying. I know a lot of people aren't happy with the Super Mario movie that came out just today, right? But I could at least, I think if I watched it, I feel like there will be at least an aspect of it. Okay, I could appreciate the amount of detail they put into designs of these characters, these worlds. I think, but people don't really think like that. It's always about trying to find that moment, that gotcha moment to go viral online and get some money. And that's cool and all that, but like I just think that's a very toxic way to live. But that's just me, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on all of that is like it's kind of like what you said, right? Like it's what kind of gets a lot of clicks when you take that angle.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like if it wasn't, it's also like a response, right? So you have like one side kind of like like one side putting their ideas into established properties. Like Stranger Things, like I'm like whether you like it or don't like it, it's its own thing. It's like like the creators kind of made that decision, so it is their own sort of ideas or work, and they kind of own that, right?
Yeah.
So if you critique Stranger Things, like I haven't seen the last few seasons, but like it is what it is. But the point is, like, if you critique Stranger Things, that's fine. You're kind of critiquing like the creative decisions that the artists made, and I think that's fair. But like when you kind of just like, okay, you see someone based on their sort of like, let's say, political ideas or their sort of like identity, and then kind of like what you said, just like trying to like scan something, trying to find something in something that they've created that you can then kind of like attack just because of who they are, then that's kind of like, I don't know. I think that's just like dishonest, right? So, I mean, just kind of like, you should like give these things a chance. And so you should like look at reviews and stuff like that, but then you should kind of like just go and see it for yourself, or just get a lot of like opinions.
Yeah.
The unfortunate sort of challenge is that people just don't have the time, right? Like, you don't have the time to check every new thing that's coming out nowadays. And kind of goes to your point. There's no like big things happening all the time, like one after the other, right? It's like millions of different shows and movies coming out all the time. So no one has the time to kind of like sit through everything and kind of decide for themselves. So they kind of like just rely on people that are doing it for them. And it's an unfortunate sort of situation, but it is what it is. Like, you have to,
I absolutely agree.
And I'll give you like my like, I stopped watching Stranger Things. I just kind of like lost interest. And I think the biggest thing was like, I liked the season that I just like, I think season 3, when they go to Russia. The prison one, and then there was like such a huge gap. I just kind of forgot what happened, and so for me that was like the reason I stopped watching, I guess. So.
Yeah, for sure. Side note, is comics, is that your full-time job, or is it like a side kind of thing?
Yeah, it's a side kind of thing.
Okay.
It's like I work full-time during the day, and then I work on the books during my free time. But like like I've spoken to a couple of people, and it seems to be like a lot of people, even if they're like, let's say, full-time comic book writers, in the sense that they're like flying out and doing shows, they're always doing something on the side. So whether they're like writing screenplays or working in a company, or doing like freelance work through some other profession, like it's no longer the case that you can kind of like, that everyone can in that industry can fully sustain themselves just by doing comics. Unless you're kind of like a full-on celebrity, or someone who's like who has like a really hit IP out there that's kind of like they're making movies and games from. So it's going to be, you have to kind of work your way up there. But but I'm way down in the food chain. I just do my own book, and I mostly sell it locally. But I've like started to do like Kickstarter. I've just done one campaign, but it seems to be a better way of doing it than going to shows, because it's sometimes it's hit or miss for me, just because of the genre. So it's easier to find like your audience online, but that also is like requires like a lot of work to do.
Yeah, that's a great answer. My next question is that how long does it take to do like a comic of yours? Like, because I'm reading through it, and I'm like, there's so much detail, there's so much detail in the backgrounds alone, let alone like the creatures, the monsters, the main characters. Like, how long does it take?
It's hard to say. You know why? Because it's it can take like years, but that's only because I've never really like had the opportunity to kind of work like full time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if I had like 8 hours in a day to just sit and draw, I'd probably be done like quicker.
Yeah.
But like, I do these like I said, like maybe a few hours every day. Then sometimes real life something will happen, and I'll have to like stop working on it. So because of that, like for example, I just did like a book called Contain. And this is the one we pushed through Kickstarter, right? So I was kind of looking through like the original notes for the story, and the story was written about like 5 years ago, right? So you can, and then like me and my brother tweaked the story, and then I started working on like the first page maybe like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And so like I did like maybe like 4 pages in a certain style.
Yeah.
And then I kind of stopped. I don't know why. Like I just stopped working on it. Maybe I had to like travel, do something, so it got held up.
Yeah.
And then like recently I was like, okay, I need to I want to try doing a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
This story, I want to finish it, and so I kind of forced myself to do like a page every week or so, right?
Yeah.
And so I was able to do it. But so from start to finish, if you look at the timeline, it took me like maybe like 6 years or something, or 5 years to complete the book. But but if you kind of like edited out all the time that I wasn't working on the book and put it together, maybe like a year, right? Like of actual work.
Okay.
But it's also like, and you've probably seen it yourself, right? Like the more you do something, the better you get at it, the quicker you can kind of like finish it. So it's also a function like I like to push myself. So for example, a lot of the backgrounds in the new book have like cityscapes and stuff, which I've never had to do before.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I feel kind of learn how to do it.
Yeah.
And then do it. So whereas like a lot of other artists who've like gone through school studying have like something to kind of fall back on, some sort of fundamental.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's kind of like I haven't studied art that way, so I find myself having to like learn how to do something and then put it into the book, right? So it's just hard to say, but like most of the time it takes me like some years to finish a book, which is why I don't have like a lot of stuff every time I go to like these conventions. But like I honestly I wish I could just sit down one day and just like for a couple of months and just draw and just actually measure how long it takes. But it's a challenge.
Yeah, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. I also want to add on what I was saying before, where like people don't really understand like how much someone puts into something until it comes out, right? And the way that I feel like people talk about other people in general, to me feels very, very messed up and warped. I'm not saying art shouldn't be criticized because that's sort of part of the whole thing, right? But there needs to be a understanding of like, dismissing something just because it doesn't fit a particular box for you is, again, super disrespectful to the art that you're critiquing. And also, it's super disrespectful to art in general to just dismiss it just because it's something that you're not comfortable with. Even with things that I wouldn't say I hate, but like things that I kind of just detest, I have to at least listen to the full thing front to back. I have to watch the full movie from minute 0 to minute whatever, right? And there is this thing where like, again, obviously there's this economy of again, negativity and rage bait and engagement farming, but also like it's even spilling in real life where like people just sound so sort of kind of fed up, but they don't know why they're fed up, kind of thing, right? So
yeah, I mean it's the way I kind of look at it again is like it's like when the movie have you heard of this movie called The Thing?
Yeah, The Thing. Yeah, I heard of it. Yeah,
right. It's like this horror movie that came out a while ago. It's like it's very popular now, but like when it first came out, from what I remember, I think it wasn't like very well received, right? Like a lot of critics didn't like it or whatever, and it kind of flopped. But then it had like a resurgence where people kind of discovered this film, and it's now become like iconic, right? It's like my favorite sort of movie. And so I feel like what you're saying makes sense because of like the political climate or whatever. But if what you're making is real, like if you really like it as an artist and you're really trying to make it good, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of you finding your audience. And so you will find people who like this is kind of my philosophy is like, as long as you're making something that is honest to yourself, like you aren't kind of trying to push a message, you're not trying to, tie it to some sort of political idea, just to make it popular. You know what I mean? Like you're not just throwing stuff in there, so it's relevant now and then no longer relevant in the future.
Yeah.
Your work will be, it'll find its audience and will kind of live on.
Yeah.
And that ultimately becomes like the test of your work. Like for example, my books or any of the artists actually for that matter, like Fan Expo, wherever.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not like selling to millions of people, but the people that do buy their book will like if it's really true to their vision, I feel like there will be like someone of the people who buy the book who will always remember the work and always like it, right?
Yeah.
And so you can't really it's like with pop music, right? Like it's really popular, everyone likes it, and then like a few weeks later, people like can't stand it, right? They just don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
So, but like for comics and stuff where you're kind of putting all of your soul into it, maybe people won't maybe it won't sell to like millions of people. You won't retire rich or something from it, but the few people who do buy it will kind of like really enjoy it and like remember it for like a long time. That's like the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And so all this other stuff that happens, like you're suggesting, right? Like where people like will criticize stuff or whatever. If the work is genuinely good, people will discover it, and then all like say the fake hate or fake positivity will be kind of forgotten in time, right? No one will remember a bad review, but if the work is really good, it'll work out. And so maybe your approach is to kind of like give everything a chance and like look at everything like front to back, like you said. But then there are people who like sometimes I'll be like on X and I'll see like a small clip from a movie or like a show, and it'll really get me like interested in. And so just based on that small clip, I'll kind of go see like a movie or read like a book, or like buy a comic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because there was something that kind of resonated, and I have no context of how it was received or what was there backlash, did the critics like it or not?
Yeah.
It was just like out of context, it just made sense to me, so I kind of liked it. And that's kind of all we can hope for, honestly, because you can't really control, right? Like what people will say about your book or your whatever you're putting up there.
Yeah.
All you can do is really control, like, okay, am I being honest to the characters, to the plot, to the story? Am I trying to like do a good job and be put something out there that people will appreciate, right? So, like for example, if you're saying that you notice the details in the backgrounds of my books are like really there's a lot of work put in there, so I appreciate that, because like that's genuinely what I wanted to do, like have backgrounds that also were as detailed as the foreground, so you have like something to look at when you're like something more to look at when you're reading through the books, right? So that's something that I think other artists also do it in whatever thing they're kind of putting effort into.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't really like control it. That's at the end of the day. That's like, if people want to say bad things about what you've done, you can't stop them.
Yeah.
You just have to trust that. Yeah, you just have to trust that the people who do listen to you kind of like what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great point. My next question is that what is your favorite comic ever?
Oh, a tough one. So there's like different like categories, right? Like my favorite artist is this guy named Richard Corbin.
Yeah.
He used to do these like painted style comics for Heavy Metal magazine and other sort of like anthologies like that. I really like his art style. But I think like the best sort of like like the best sort of like comic, I think just like a 10 out of 10 across the board, right? Is in my opinion is like Berserk. I just love the storytelling in this. It's a manga, so I really like the storytelling, and then the art is just like phenomenal. It's not usually the art that I would go for, but just on balance, like looking at every aspect of that book, it has to be like the best one out there. Like, are you familiar with Berserk?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah, I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. So for me, that's the one that's like it's just the best.
Yeah.
What's your favorite comic?
Oh wow. Damn, that's a great question. There's so many, like, there's so many ones that really sort of spoke to me at a particular.
It's hard,
time.
right?
It's hard. It is hard for sure. Like, there's one comic though that really, like, I know, like, there's one comic that obviously this is probably a pretty obvious answer. I think Watchmen was a comic that sort of showed me like how how great comics can be, right? Another comic, I don't even think you really call this a comic. It's a comic strip. It's Calvin and Hobbes. I think those ones were, I think, again, like, those ones sort of showed me how to appreciate storytelling and character arcs. And, you know, the other thing is that, like, you know, I another one I really loved was the Dark Knight, the one that Frank Miller did, Dark Knight Returns. That's an incredible comic. Obviously, I think some people kind of took the wrong message from it, like, you know, in that aspect of it. And, you know, people started trying to copy it without really understanding the real kind of love behind it, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. No, that's a really good, it's a really good book as well. There's like just so many like amazing books out there that you wanna read through. But like, you know, for me, like, it has to have like really good art. This is like a personal preference. Like, the interior panels need to be as good as like the covers, and then like there needs to be like a, like, at least like for the majority of the run, it needs to have like a consistent sort of story. It shouldn't like meander. There needs to be like a point to it. Like there's just so many things that you can kind of like measure a book against. It's really hard to say, but ultimately I think it just comes down to like, you know, your sort of like emotional connection to that book, and it's very hard to like quantify it. That's why I think people like looking at reviews and critiquing things, because they want to like, you know, you like something but you just don't know why, or you know you hate something but you just don't know why, right? And you're just looking to discover a little bit about your own self when you look at like a review or something like that. Like, then you see someone who's like saying it in the right way, and then it kind of clicks. Oh yeah, that's how I was feeling, and this person was able to kind of like tell me something about myself that I couldn't fully, you know, say in words. So I think it's why we kind of like go do these discussions about like what is your favorite book, because we're trying to also like understand a little bit about ourselves. Like,
yeah,
me as a person would like this kind of thing, but for some reason I really like this thing, right? So
yeah.
Why is that? It's always a fun thing to do.
Wow, that's an interesting one. What was your favorite movie of last year, 2025?
2025. I think like, what did I even go to the cinema and see? 25. Oh. I don't know. I've kind of started mixing all the years up. What movies came out here?
Last year, Superman came out. Sinners came out. One Battle After Another came out. I don't know if you watched any of them. Those ones were excellent movies. I don't know if you watched any of them.
I saw Superman.
Yeah.
I don't know if I liked it as much. I didn't see Sinners yet. I haven't seen One Battle After Another. What did I see? Maybe something on like Netflix or something, but yeah, I'll be honest, man. Like, nothing kind of like stands out. Maybe just because I'm getting old now, so I kind of like don't remember stuff as much.
Yeah.
But like nothing kind of stands out.
Oh, okay.
What about you?
That's fair. That's fair. Sorry. So my next question to you is, what's your favorite movie of all time?
I like The Thing. I think I mentioned that before. It's like this horror movie kind of set in horror sci-fi movie set in like I think Antarctica or the Arctic. I have to rewatch it to kind of learn. But it's set in like this sort of like desolate, sort of snowy sort of environment, and then there's this like alien sort of parasitic creature that takes over a dog, and the dog kind of comes to like a research sort of station outpost somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and it kind of like jumps from one person to another, and it kind of like takes over their body whilst changing it from the inside, right? So they and it wants to kind of like feed off everyone in that station, and so then the whole movie is about them kind of trying to figure out who is actually the thing versus and then trying to like kill it before it gets to them, right? So it's a very tense movie. It's a very interesting sort of like sci-fi element to it, but like also very terrifying. So it kind of like takes all the boxes for me.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good one. My favorite movie, and this will be pretty obvious if anyone listens to any sort of number of my podcasts, because I always mention it, you know what I'm saying, when this kind of question comes up, is Tron Legacy. Like, I remember...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love that movie, dude. Like, I remember vividly watching it, me and my family. We watched this in this big theater in Brampton. And I'll never forget when there's a sequence where Sam Flynn, right? He's like the main character, right? He sort of runs away, right? His father has been missing for like 30 years, and you know, he's like, long story short, like Tron is, you know what I'm saying, it's about, you know, video games, it's about, you know what I'm saying, the grid and all that. And his father is stuck in the grid, can't get out, and it transitions to Sam as a kid riding on a bicycle outside of his house, to like a wicked ass transition to like him riding a Ducati motorcycle, like sort of on the freeway at night, and it's in a tunnel, and the Daft Punk soundtrack is blasting on the speakers. It's incredible. It's an incredible experience, man. And I think like my favorite movie last year, like granted there were better movies, right? But like Tron Ares was my favorite movie last year for the same exact reason. It made me feel like a kid again, the best way possible. Just hearing the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack, that opening sequence where like Ares is being downloaded in real time, it was crazy. Like, I love that movie, and I can 100% understand why people may not vibe with Tron, because Tron's more about like visuals and sort of ideas. You have to sort of kind of fill in the gaps, where most people want something sort of kind of explained in a particular kind of way, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But for me, like Tron's my favorite franchise, and nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change my mind on that.
Yeah, it's like you're like you're emotionally kind of like connected to it, which is like I said, you know, like you can't really like define why you like it something. You just kind of like it, right? So that makes it makes it hard to kind of like. I honestly haven't seen the first Tron movie. But just based on how much you love this one, I'm gonna have to check it out. Like I've always wanted to check it out, but I just couldn't understand the concept. Like, are they in this sort of digital world, or
it's kind of like the Matrix, but it's like reverse. Like the real world is normal, but the grid is like, it's some crazy stuff going on there all the time, right?
I'll definitely check it out now.
Okay. All right. We're reaching the end of the interview, and I'm gonna do this Q&A session if you're cool with that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Okay. DC or Marvel?
Oh, DC.
Okay. Batman or Spider-Man?
Batman.
Okay. Alan Moore or Grant Morrison?
Alan Moore.
Okay. X-Men or Teen Titans?
X-Men.
Okay. Sam Raimi or James Gunn?
Oh, you know what, Sam Raimi? Because I remember like more of his movies.
Yeah.
Even though I haven't seen like a lot of his stuff, but like all the stuff that I've seen of his, I can remember. Like I can see it in my head. So
Yeah.
definitely Sam.
Okay.
Sorry, just one more point. It kind of goes back to, you remember what I was saying, like James Gunn is really good at his movies. Like when I see it, I remember feeling very entertained.
Yeah.
But I can't really remember much from it. But like Sam Raimi is like an artist, right? Like,
Yeah.
so he has he's true to his voice. Yeah, putting stuff out there that is really cool. Sorry, I mean to interrupt you.
It's all good. It's all good. Christopher Nolan or Stanley Kubrick?
Oh, that's a very tough one. I'm gonna go with Stanley Kubrick, because same reason. I just like his stuff is so unique. Like Nolan is really good, but like I don't know, it's tough, man.
It is.
I like Stanley Kubrick. There's just I can't explain why, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with him.
Okay. Paul Thomas Anderson or Coen Brothers?
I feel like I've seen more Coen Brother movies. I'll just go with that.
Okay. Millie Bobby Brown or Megan Fox?
Oh boy. Like I don't even know what this question is about in general, but
it could be acting, could be, whatever you're, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know, like I haven't seen like both of them kind of do like a thing that's kind of blown me away.
Okay.
But I don't know, like I kind of like I like Millie Bobby Brown mainly because of her character from Stranger Things. So I'll just go with her.
Okay. Good answer. Side note, what kind of music you listen to?
I used to listen to a lot of like classic metal, like Iron Maiden, that kind of stuff, or like grunge.
Okay.
But like recently, I just kind of I listened. Like I went to like a System of a Down concert, and there was like Deftones over there, so I heard them, and I really like. I started liking their music. So it's a mixed bag. I've heard everything. My favorite stuff is like still grunge.
Okay. All right, that's a great answer. All right, Nirvana or Nine Inch Nails?
Oh, Nirvana.
Okay. Trent Reznor or Marilyn Manson?
I don't know. I like Trent Reznor. I feel like he's like more like I don't like his music as much, or Marilyn Manson for that matter. But like I feel Marilyn Manson is like a lot of like gimmicks, and stuff like that. Whereas he's more kind of like like he's kind of just doing his thing.
Okay.
I kind of respect that.
Okay. Iron Maiden or Metallica?
Oh boy. I like Iron Maiden.
Okay. Wow. Kanye or Kendrick Lamar?
Oh, Kanye for sure.
Okay. Drake or Lil Wayne?
Okay. I'm not like the biggest rap guy, but like if I'm just being honest, I have to say Drake. Like more of his songs are like memorable, and I haven't heard that much of like Lil Wayne anyway. So.
Okay. Billie Eilish or Lana Del Rey?
I know like some songs of Billie Eilish, but I like Lana Del Rey like as like just from what I know of her as like a person and an artist.
Okay.
I kind of like her, but like if I'm being honest, I just know more Billie Eilish songs. But it could just be because like she's more like popular. But yeah.
Okay. Haley Steinfeld or Zendaya?
This one I don't know. I'll leave it up to the audience.
Okay.
I have no opinion either way.
Alright, that's funny. Side note, what's your celebrity crush when you were younger?
Who's younger? Man, like it was like a long time ago. I'll be honest, I just don't remember.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. For me, it's like a rotated cast. Like, it's like sometimes it's just Millie Bobby Brown, I mentioned her name. Sometimes it's Lana. Like Lana's my first actual crush. Like,
okay, that's cool.
Sometimes Billie Eilish. Sometimes it's Tyla. She's just like she's a South African artist. Like she's super like popular right now. So shout out to her. SZA, she's an R&B artist. You know, same vein as like like a Beyonce when she was like at her height in 2000s. You know, so yeah.
I like her song. Like, she's a really good like vocalist.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I like that.
All right. Beyonce or Prince?
Prince.
Okay. All right. Again, another side note. Do you watch sports?
Oh.
Okay, you don't. Okay. That's fair. Second last one. Stranger Things or Game of Thrones?
And just the ending of Game of Thrones ruined it for me. But I like Stranger Things, I guess. Like I like both. I've read like the Game of Thrones books, so I like what I've read so far.
Yeah.
But it's just the ending of Game of Thrones kind of ruins the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
So Stranger Things, like it's just more consistently entertaining.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Last one. GTA or Last of Us?
I used to play GTA a long time ago. I haven't played any Last of Us. But
Yeah.
I like GTA because it like I don't know. I just kind of am getting like turned off by games that have a lot of like cutscenes and like forces you to experience the story in a certain way.
That's
I
fair.
like GTA because it's like more you're free to do whatever the heck you want.
That's fair. A bonus one. Uber or public transportation?
Uber.
Okay. And second last one. Spring or summer?
Yeah. Spring or summer?
Yeah.
Spring.
Okay. Yeah, that's the end of the interview, bro. It was a blast talking to you. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it was good. If you want to do this again, always open for it. And I like the questions.
Yeah.
It was
for
very
sure.
thoughtful. So,
For sure. My last thing is the last thing I'll say is when you get this posted, I'm trying to get this posted, you know what I'm saying, as soon as possible. Would you be open to like, promoting it on your social media and all that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, great. Have a nice day, man.
Right. We're going.
Bye. That is another episode of Renegade Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Same way I enjoyed this one, putting something together. Bye.